Hi, my name is Beth Poss, and welcome to Creating the Universally Designed for Learning Early Childhood Classroom, the social environment. The social environment encompasses relationships and interactions between children, teachers, teachers to teacher, and family to school. The social environment welcomes the involvement of all families. Children need to build trusting relationships with the adults so they can be confident in their explorations and risk-taking. They may need assistance in order to make connections with peers, develop friendships, and regulate their behaviors. Interactions between teachers and children and child to child require opportunities for ongoing and multiple modes of communication. Family relationships are built upon open communication that honors the cultural and linguistic background of each family. Let's quickly review what is Universal Design for Learning. Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, is a framework for curriculum design, instruction, and assessment to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. It is not a special education initiative as it supports the learning of all students. All students learn differently, and there is no such thing as the average learner. The concept of neurovariability is important for educators because it reminds us that learners do not have an isolated learning style, but instead rely on many parts of the brain working together to function within a given context. There is no single way a brain will perceive, engage with, or execute a task. Variability is not just an important consideration for thinking about differences between students, but also within students in different contexts. In early childhood settings, UDL is providing choice in materials used with students in teacher-led instruction and used independently by students. It is enhancing and extending opportunities for communication and interactions. It is providing play-based resources that can be accessed by the widest range of children possible, including those with physical, sensory, or developmental disabilities, self-regulation challenges, English language learners, or just late bloomers. And the promotion of best practices with young children by providing a multisensory, engaging learning experience that meets varied developmental needs. The core of UDL is to plan for choice because there is no one best way to learn. There is no one best way to demonstrate attainment of proficiency of learning objectives, and there is not one best way to motivate and engage. In this session, we are examining the social environment. When we talk about the social environment, we are thinking about how are relationships and communication fostered, both peer-to-peer and child-to-adult. How are culture and diversity acknowledged, respected, and viewed as a strength? What are the roles of the individuals in that environment? And what are the behavioral expectations and social-emotional supports that we provide? In a universally designed for learning early childhood classroom, there must be options for communication. Young learners with language delays may need no-tech and low-tech communication supports, mid-tech communication resources, high-tech dynamic display devices, or a combination of all of the above. In supporting emergent communicators using augmentative communication devices, we can't forget about the recognition network and the importance of language modeling, providing options for language input to young learners. Here is a short video of a teacher using a wall-sized communication board to model core vocabulary words for her students.
Yes! Thumbs up! Today is gonna be a good day. Guess what? We got something. But we do not know what in it. Yes. Wait a second. Wait. Oh, what do I have? Yes. What did we Ooh, it's so exciting.
Opportunities for communication are everywhere. At the Play-Doh table, provide a communication board for expressive output and a sequence chart for receptive input to support Play-Doh play. Language input options are not just for children using augmentative communication devices. They are also for our multilingual learners. The social environment encompasses cultural, gender, neuro, and linguistic diversity. Do students see themselves and their families in the room? From toys to craft materials to images, what messages do the toys and learning materials in your room convey to children and their families? Let's examine the Reading Center from the social perspective. It should include both digital and print books with diverse characters and in multiple languages. It should also include books that acknowledge young learners as authors with both digital and print books created by the children themselves. Ensure that there are accessible and adapted books and resources that allow children to engage with each other socially in interactive book reading, such as these stick puppets. Unite for Literacy, which can be found at uniteforliteracy.com, provides a digital collection of picture books that are available in both English and Spanish, as well as narration in a large variety of languages. The books in Unite for Literacy show images and illustrations that represent a wide variety of cultures.
Hoy estamos cocinando quesadillas con mi mamá.
Here's another example.
معلم.
Behavioral expectations and social emotional supports are also part of the social environment. This I am working for chart can help a child understand what they need to do during a task in order to obtain a reward at the end of the task. So for example, he'll get Legos when he's shown that he's able to share with friends, sit at circle, listen to directions, and put toys away. To aid in that student's ability to stay on task while working for the reward, a token economy can be used. A chart like this can have the small pieces cut up and provided intermittently to the student as they're working to fill in. Any chart used as a token economy should be highly motivating with something that's going to engage that student. When children present with an undesirable behavior in response to a challenging situation, they may need explicit instruction to learn how to choose another response to that situation. Social narratives, also known as social stories, a term trademarked by Carol Gray, are written with the goal of describing positive alternatives to negative or non-productive behaviors in challenging situations. Social narratives help young learners develop appropriate social interactions and responses to situations that they may find difficult. Social narratives are generally written for a specific child for a specific social, behavioral, or communication challenge. Don't Spit was written in response to a young man who would spit on peers and teachers when he became frustrated or upset. As a part of the implementation of the social story, we would read it to him, presenting him with positive ways to use his mouth, and then discuss how he should not use his mouth for spitting. Notice how the book is written in first person. We talked about the consequences of spitting and his determination to not spit, and then to come up with another alternative, such as using his mouth politely to take a break. The story was read repeatedly. It was read when he was having a great day, and we could sit and talk about the behavior, but it was also read in response to the behavior to remind him of what he needed to do. We also took the opportunity to give him and his peers a chance to act out parts of the story without actually spitting. A social narrative does not have to be a long, planned-out process with fancy graphics. It can be something that is written on the spur of the moment with the student if they have the language skills to support this. Blake was a first grader who was getting into trouble in his classroom because he was drawing on the desk. So we sat down together to talk about a way that we could manage this. Blake told me that he knew he wasn't supposed to draw on the desk and that he should only draw on paper. And so we decided that we should write this information down so that he could refer to it. Blake was a reader, and he could read the text here. And this is the story that he dictated to me. I should only draw on paper. When I was little, I used to draw on the desk. My dad had to clean it up, and he was mad at me, and I told him I would never do that again at my house. At school, I drew on the desk, and you can see there Blake's illustrations. At school, I drew on the clipboard. I should not draw on the desk. I should not draw on clipboards. If I feel like scribbling, I should ask my teacher for a piece of paper. I should only draw on paper. We then taped this social narrative to Blake's desk and reminded him of this when he was tempted to start scribbling on his desk instead of on paper. Many young children have difficulty understanding, naming, and regulating their emotions. Strategies like the mood meter from Yale University can help young learners label and describe their emotions so that they can develop ways to manage when their emotions overtake them.
The mood meter is fantastic. It gives the child the opportunity to show their feelings.
Preschool Ruler was developed at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. We partnered with child care learning centers in Stamford, Connecticut to develop a way to teach emotional intelligence to our youngest learners. Right from the beginning of the day, the teacher has a good idea of where each child is coming into their classroom. They decide how they're feeling, which quadrant of the mood meter, whether they're angry, happy, sad, or calm, and they put their picture down there. So they're recognizing their emotions, they're able to label it.
When children come into school or during the day and they are either anxious or angry, it will affect the way that they are learning in the classroom because they're not paying attention and they're not listening, and it makes the learning very difficult for them.
The Ruler program provides a fundamental tool set for the children to be ready to learn. It allows them to recognize, to understand, to label, to then express, and ultimately to regulate their emotions and their feelings.
Why do you feel sad? You miss mommy.
The teachers then recognize that the children are coming into their classroom with a myriad of different feelings every day, and it's helping the children realize that I'm not always going to come to school happy.
They're learning new vocabulary, like excited, curious. It's not only using happy.
I'm hearing a lot of more communication. You're not just taking the toy, but can I play too?
A lot less of the aggressiveness, a lot less hitting, a lot less pushing. We've noticed they're really much more verbal about their emotions and the way that they're feeling.
No, that's not what it is, because I miss my dad.
I think it is increasing their empathy, which is a high-level skill for a 3- and 4-year-old.
So it's not just helping one particular child who is having the behavior, it's helping the other children.
And it's helped them to sit and focus and to learn the other parts of the curriculum.
And when they can manage their feelings, they are ready for learning.
Integrating Ruler was easy. As a teacher, they're just doing it and it's fun to do.
It's hard enough to start communications with your children and have them being comfortable with talking to you about their feelings. So you're introducing your child to something that they're natural with, is colors.
Ruler, I think, not only is helping children's life, it's helping our feeling to regulate our emotions.
I've started to use the mood meter myself at home with her because, you know, that's our way of communicating.
It's really a tool that they could use forever, and it sets them up for success. And in an increasingly competitive world, these children need all of the advantages that they can possibly summon.
We can't always choose the feelings that we have, but we can choose how we respond to our feelings. And we can teach children how to do the same.
Young children may need explicit instruction in learning how to label, describe, and identify their feelings. Commercial games like these emoji blocks, a custom feelings puzzle from Lesson Picks, or soothing stones with faces and emotions are all wonderful items to have on hand to help young learners discuss their feelings and the feelings of others. The Daniel the Tiger Guess the Feelings game from pbskids.org is a delightful online tool for children to explore feelings and identify them in others.
When you feel so mad that you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now who wants to take a turn?
Okay, my turn. All right, guess the feeling. Look at their mouth. Hoo-hoo, look at their mouth. Is it sad? Yes, this is my sad face. It's okay to feel sad sometimes. Little by little, you'll feel better again.
Another tool to help young children understand and manage their emotions is the Sesame Street app.
On the green button. Hola, Mando from Sesame Street here. Our monster friend is having a tough time. He needs your help. The monster is building a tall block tower. Uh-oh. Now the monster is frowning. He's feeling disappointed because he tried to build a tall tower and he's sad it fell down. Tap on the monster's belly to help him put his hands on it. Tap slowly on his belly. Look! The monster is calming down. Yes! He looks much calmer. Look at that! The monster calmed down because you helped him take 3 slow breaths. Now he's ready to think about a plan to try building again. Pop the bubbles to tell the monster helpful things. And think of some plans. Think, think, think. Keep thinking of a plan. You're almost there. You help the monster to think of a plan. Build a wider tower. Think of a plan. Keep thinking. You've almost got a plan. You help the monster to think of a plan. Build 2 shorter towers. Put on your thinking cap. Think a little bit more. You've almost thought of a plan. Look, the monster has an idea. Ask a grown-up, like his teacher, for help building the tower. Let's listen again to the plans the monster thought of to solve his problem. Build a wider tower with more blocks on the bottom. Build 2 shorter towers. Ask a grown-up, like his teacher, for help building the tower. To choose a plan, tap on it. He's building a wider tower. This one won't fall over. The monster was disappointed that his block tower fell, and you helped him feel better. Now the monster looks thrilled. When you feel disappointed, breathe, think, and do. First, breathe slowly in through your nose and out through your mouth 3 times. Next, think about a plan to feel better. Then do it. If you need help, you can always ask a grown-up.
Once children have had an opportunity to identify and learn about emotions and have had strategies for regulating and problem-solving modeled, they need to be able to apply what they have learned to themselves. Providing visuals can support them in making choices that will help them manage how they are feeling. A low-tech board, such as this When I Am, assists them in identifying the strategy that they want to try, whether it's taking a big breath, counting to 5, blowing bubbles, or taking a break. Gravitarium is an iOS app that provides a sensory experience that can serve as a distraction, help a child refocus, or calm down. By providing the app for a limited amount of time and used along with a timer, Gravitarium can bring a child back from a tantrum, tears, or another challenging behavior and allow them to regroup and get back to work or play. The child controls the colors on the screen and the design that they see by moving their fingers along the screen. Music is optional as well. Draw Stars from La Escapade is similar in nature, but provides stars. In the settings, you can adjust the size of the star, change the colors of the star, or choose to have it spin or not spin. Background image, and remove all of the stars and start over. Don't forget an early childhood favorite, the sensory bin. One thing to consider as we return to schools with a heightened awareness of sanitization and germ control is to use items that can be easily disinfected, like bags with sensory items floating in a gel sealed inside a reinforced plastic bag, Lego blocks, smooth stones, or washable sensory beads. For items that can't be easily cleaned, like rice, beans, or sand, consider creating individual sensory boxes labeled for each child, or create an inexpensive, easily replaceable sensory bin with shredded paper recycled from the office. Let's take just a moment to reflect on your current practices in terms of the social environment. Choose one of these entry points for your reflection. What might you redesign in your current setting? What is working well? And how could you add more meaningful student choice and autonomy? Or consider a student who has more needs and think of how to front-load supports and eliminate barriers. As you return to your classroom, think of some low-hanging fruit. What is something you can easily add or change about your current practices?
Thank you for watching this webinar. For more information on the ATP Education Program, please visit our website at atp.nebraska.gov or email us at atp.education@nebraska.gov.